Welcome back. Every March, daylight saving time brings some extra sunshine to our lives. But did you know that this 1-hour shift can have some safety consequences, including a rise in car accidents, workplace injuries, and health emergencies? Here with us now to shed light on some of the dangers of daylight saving from our sponsors at the Barnes firm is Rich Barnes. Thanks so much for coming in today, Rich.
Well, thank you again for having me.
Of course. Well, let's start off by talking about why daylight saving can be a safety risk.
Well, it's a great question, and that time is rapidly approaching. This weekend, as a matter of fact, daylight savings goes into effect, and it's a shift that some people look forward to,
Right.
and some people can't stand it. But whatever our personal feelings, we have to deal with it. But yeah, statistically, and based on my many years' experience in the personal injury law field, there is unfortunately a significant increase in incidents that lead to sometimes very serious injuries that can be attributable to this shift in the time frame. And that includes car crashes, includes workplace injuries. It also includes injuries that can happen in our homes, again. And so I think it's worthwhile spending a little time to talk about that today.
Well, it's so interesting because it's a 1-hour difference, but we were talking about this. That 1 hour really does make a difference.
Well, you're right. It really does. And what the experts tell us is this shift in the time change affects our natural body rhythm that we develop through sleep patterns in our lifestyles. I think the medical term is the circadian rhythm of our bodies. And just that 1-hour shift does in fact affect that. And it's really I think the important term is sleep deprivation.
Right.
And that can lead to reduction in our ability to concentrate, our ability to focus, our physical motions are off a little bit. And of course, those can be dangerous things when we're operating a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
If we have a job that involves use of heavy machinery or tools, or even if there's a lot of physical activity. If you're drowsy, it can cause these problems and lead to these very serious accidents. So it's something we have to be mindful of and maybe try to take some steps to alleviate that problem a little bit.
It makes sense what you're saying. If we are normally waking up at 5 a.m. and then the shift happens and we're getting up, but our body still feels like it's 4 a.m. You imagine getting behind the wheel. Physically, you're in the car, but mentally, you might still be asleep, and obviously, that can lead to some dangerous situations.
Well, that's true, and again, the statistics bear out that during the first week following the switch to daylight saving time, there's a significant increase in motor vehicle crashes and very tragically in some fatal crashes. And again, we're not as focused. In the early part of the shift, it's darker sometimes in the morning. There's pedestrians out, their kids are going to school, and they're all affected as well by this sleep deprivation issue. So we've got to be mindful of it and think about it and hopefully take some steps that maybe make everybody safer, including ourselves.
Well, as an injury attorney, is this something that you've noticed throughout your time?
Oh, without question. These statistics I mentioned to you bear out what I've experienced. There is a significant increase particularly in motor vehicle accidents that we've seen. And many times when you dig into the facts of these cases, it comes to fruition that is what caused it, or at least contributed to it, is that sleep deprivation that led to these very unfortunate accidents. Yeah.
Well, if someone is injured due to someone else's drowsiness, what should they do? Well,
there's some basic rules that I'd like to tell folks in any kind of an accident, but in these in particular as well. First and foremost is assess the issue of injury. Are you injured? Are your passengers injured? Secondly is to document the scene if you can. Photographs, exchange of insurance information, that type of thing. Another thing I often recommend is, even if you don't think it's necessarily a serious accident initially, contact law enforcement. Have a neutral party, if you will, make an assessment of what happened.
Right.
Okay. And last but not least, contact experienced, competent counsel, attorneys, to know right from the get-go what your rights are in an accident situation like that, and making sure that you protect those rights throughout the process.
I know that lawmakers have been trying to get rid of daylight saving time for a couple of years now. Is there any updates you have on that?
Yeah, another good question. Yeah, it's referred to as the Sunshine Law, I believe, and it requires federal legislation to make it nationwide, where we have it or we do away with it.
Right.
And it's been kicked around for years, but there never seems to be much traction that has been gained on that in that direction. And from what I understand, there isn't much right now going on.
Okay. So we're going to have to still keep dealing with this.
That's right. Right. You're going to have to set your clocks ahead and back for a while.
That's right. Well, just do whatever you can to jumpstart your mornings and protect yourself, right?
Absolutely. Try to maybe a couple days in advance adjust your sleep schedule. Make sure you're not overdoing caffeinated drinks or using your cell phone too much before you fall asleep. Those are things that affect our sleep. And just be mindful of this shift and how it's affecting you. Be a little extra careful for yourself and others.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing more about this. Viewers, if you or someone you know has been injured in an accident and needs help, visit our sponsors at thebarnesfirm.com or call the 1-800-8-MILLION number on your screen. It could be the best call you make. Thanks again for coming in, Rich.
Thank you very much.